What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Opetaia. Eddie Hearn, get this. Eddie Hearn said this about his cruiserweight champion, Opetaia. He said, quote, "We don't want to fight Chin Cara, but with Zerto injured and Baju Jack fighting Makalin, there's not much we can do." Eddie Hearn on a Opetaia via Boxing Social. And let me counterpunch. Chin Cara is the mandatory, okay? That's who he has to fight. That's one of the obligations, if not the main obligation to any champion. Fight your mandatories. Mandatories voluntary, mandatories voluntary. That's how it goes. And I think that that's the right step. If you're going to stay in the division, you have to do what you're supposed to do in the division. You know? Because if you look at the formation of these fighters today, you don't have really, you don't see many of them doing what they're supposed to do. You know, you see most fighters, they get that belt, and depending on the sanctioning body or the integrity of the sanctioning body, that pretty much determines how much work they do as champion or as interim champion, you know? Because I think that Opetaia, you know, with his mind being maybe heavyweight, moving to heavyweight, I think that if he moved to heavyweight, he would have to fight his way up. Whereas the Usyk route to get every belt is still a couple years away, if it ever happens. And by that time, Opetaia will be 32, you know, and I think he'll still be where he is, but 30 years old is a perfect age because you're either going to sink or swim, whatever weight class he decides to stay in or go to. And that's what we're going to have to look forward to. So there are fights like Chin Cara, okay? Now, I don't know anything about Chin Cara, but I can tell you, fighters have a better performance against the champion when the champion's mind is elsewhere. Because a lot of times these fighters, these champions, they're all over the place. Their ambition sometimes clouds their concentration for the person right in front of them. See, Opetaia, what we know of him, he's quiet, he's humble, he's hungry, he's ambitious, he's eager. He's a lot of these things, and the eagerness, the ambition that he has could be his downfall. And what I mean by that is, if you take your eye off the ball, that ball could hit you right in the face. You know, it happened to the best of them, especially when you're looking at fights that you want to happen. You know, we've seen it time and time again. We've seen, hey, I want this fight and I want that fight, and you know, and it's all you hear about. But then yet these fighters have fights that are aligned to them, like Chin Cara is his opponent, not Zerto. For all we know, Zerto don't want to fight Opetaia. If he doesn't want to fight Opetaia, there's no reason Opetaia should be worried about Zerto. Take your mind off Zerto. And I'm not saying that's him, but what normally happens is you want to fight a guy and you are the guy that's being avoided, and people are acknowledging that, and you're getting buzz from that. But then, you know, you're getting interviews, you're talking on, you're speaking your mind about that person. You know, you're already feeding into the talks and the situation at hand, because this guy doesn't want to fight you and all this, that, and the other. But then there's another guy that does, the guy that you have signed to fight, the guy that you're obligated and mandated to fight. And then he is ready, and he's a lot better than you thought he was. And with all that time you spend with these interviews and this energy with talking about this fighter that don't want to fight you, that fighter that you haven't really looked at or thought of is training like the Dickens. That, hey, yeah, I'm going to be ready. So I think the whole idea about boxing, it's a mind game, right? So as long as it's a mind game, you have to take into account, like, okay, let me focus on what this guy is about. Not just get in the ring with somebody that I know nothing about because I haven't paid attention to. That's dangerous. That's always dangerous, And Eddie with Jai Opetaia, I guess after this mandatory, we will see what, Eddie can do for him. But one thing about Eddie Hearn, and you still got to give him credit. If you're wanting to swim with the sharks, he's going to push you off the boat. He's going to see if you want to really swim with the sharks. Now, do you have any cuts on you? That's one thing. But he's going to see if you really want that work, because he's going to try to get you those fights. He's not going to protect you. He's not going to shield you. He's going to see what you can do. Sink or swim. So that's the update on Jai Opetaia. He's fighting his mandatory. There you go. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.